everybody, how you doing out there? And welcome back to Ranking the Victims' Deaths from a Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I am on part 5, The Dream Child. And in this one, we only have 3 to talk about. And when it comes to the kills in this here, I actually will say is not a fan of it. I just think it was really stupid. An okay one, and probably one of the most awesome ones in this franchise. Maybe not my favorite, but definitely a really good one there. I would definitely be kind of curious, how would you rank all 3 of these deaths? And what do you think about the deaths? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Are they just kind of okay to you there? Give me a comment down below and we shall discuss it there. Let's get ourselves started. Number 3, the one I'm definitely not a big fan of here, is gotta be Greta's death. So you got Greta and her mom, and they're actually entertaining a bunch of rich people at a dinner party at their house. A waiter comes over to give Greta some food. She kind of refuses, surprises her mom and the guests there because of Dan's death. Greta and her mom kind of get into a little bit of an argument in front of all these people. I would probably say more Greta's yelling at her mom while her mom tries to act like that she's cool, calm, and collect, but she isn't in any way. Then we actually get waiter Freddy that comes over. Greta's like in this really fucked up high chair, and Freddy actually has a spoon on his claw hand and starts shoving food in her mouth and makes her cheeks and her face really, really fat. Then we actually get Alice, who's actually walking over to the refrigerator to put some food away because she was cooking for her and her dad. And she opens up the refrigerator door there, and there goes Greta trying to reach out, and Alice is trying to reach and help her, and she's calling out her dad, and her dad is actually like watching TV or kind of dozing off, so he doesn't know anything that's going on, even though that the living room and kitchen are very, very close to each other. Then we get Freddy that actually closes the refrigerator door. Alice actually opens it up and everything actually looks normal. Then we actually have Freddy holding Greta like a baby and patting her back. What her mother and the guests see is just her kind of doing this, and she's choking, and then she actually falls and her head hits her plate. Some of that's actually okay, but the whole shoving the food in the mouth, I always thought that was always disgusting every time I see that in a movie or a TV show. Number 2 is going to be Mark. So you got Mark, he's actually sleeping, and he actually ends up going into Nancy's old house. Alice actually walks in, sees a piece of paper where she actually sees him walking in. So she draws herself a stick figure and her name on top there, closes her eyes. Next thing you know, she's already actually in the dream. She has to run into the house because Mark's already in there. He ends up in, I would say maybe looks like it could have been like the living room part of the abandoned house. Alice is very close to Mark to actually get him, try to pull him out of the dream. The floor, just collapses. He starts falling through. It looks like it's going to be like a dimension going to hell. Alice is actually able to grab him by his hand and pull him actually up there. And he actually looks at his hand. He sees there's a little bit of blood. He actually faints, falls through the floor there, and he actually wakes up. And then we actually get Alice not too long after that waking up there, but then she needs to get right back in to protect her son Jacob. Possibly Freddy's going to be going after there. So she goes back into the dream there. Mark agrees to actually stay up. He starts looking at the comic book. He actually sees himself in the comic book, and he gets shocked there, and he actually gets sucked into the comic book there, and he's kind of looking around. He sees Freddy is chasing him on the skateboard, so he's actually trying to run away from Freddy. And then all of a sudden, Freddy just disappears, and Mark's like looking around for a moment. We get a little bit of blood on his head there. He actually looks up, and there's big, fat, dead Greta, and Freddy's right there, like scooping food out of her stomach. So again, kind of continues with the disgusting part for Greta's scene there. He's actually like, let her go. So Freddy actually drops her, and she actually breaks like a vase. He gets really pissed off here, Mark, and they show him spin around, and he turns into one of his comic book characters. He starts shooting at Freddy. Freddy finally goes down and then actually rises right back up as Super Freddy. And of course, Mark's still shooting, and that's not working out. Freddy, Big Freddy comes, and then all of a sudden it becomes normal Freddy again and start slashing Mark like he's a piece of paper, and half, like some of his body's kind of shredded off there. And then Freddy just starts like ripping his, ripping Mark like piece to piece, like he is a piece of paper, until he's actually dead. Alice actually wakes up and sees that Mark is actually dead. Now, like I said, it's an okay one. And number one is going to be Dan's death here. So you got Dan, who's actually at the swimming pool. He's actually there hanging out with his friends, and he's actually hanging out with his classmates. You hear a phone in the background. Someone calls Dan over. It's actually Alice. She's actually at work, and she's worried about Freddy, possibly, maybe not even going after them, but maybe going after the unborn child. Dan's like, I will do my best to get to your job as soon as possible. So he takes the champagne, says goodbye to his friends, gets into the truck there, and he tries to go as fast as he can. He's listening to the radio. He actually hears his mother's voice, and she's really not a fan of Alice there. I think we even have Freddy's voice saying about, your son sounds like he's a real brat. He turns off the radio. Next thing you know, Freddy starts taking over the truck. He's actually in the passenger side, actually driving. He actually starts drinking the champagne. And then he pours some of the champagne on his arm like it's acid, because his arm completely comes off, and he uses his arm as a seatbelt. Looks like Freddy is about to hit another vehicle. Freddy slams on the brakes there, and then Dan goes through the windshield and back at the swimming pool that he just left there. But the only difference is nobody's there. The phone is ringing, but he can't get to it now. So he runs back out. He can't find his keys to the truck. He sees that there's a motorcycle with keys already in it, takes that motorcycle and starts driving. Then we get Freddy, who actually shows his face briefly on this motorcycle here, and this guy has the need for speed and just kind of starts teasing him a little bit. We actually get the bike infusing itself with Dan. Dan is like completely bald now. Almost looks like something from like Mad Max, which is really, really awesome. Love what they kind of give on that scene. And then we actually get Freddy's final thing about don't dream and drive. Next thing you know, Dan is back in his truck, and a Mack truck just takes him out. And this was very close to Alice's work, because she hears it. She runs outside, and she notices that Dan is actually dead there. Runs past the Mack truck driver there, but that guy comes out wearing like the Freddy Krueger sweater, which makes me laugh. And she actually walks over slowly, and then you actually got Dan, who actually lifts up his head, but it's Freddy's voice, and say, hey Alice, want to make babies? And then she faints. So there you guys go. There is my rankings death here of part 5, The Dream Child. Hopefully you guys actually enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay awesome, and bye.